Welcome back to Try Before We Die. This is Mal. There's a lot happening here tonight, but why don't we just start with these are December release tapes for the last episodes of Season 2. And though we have a lot of surprises planned for Season 3 rollout, clearly in front of us we have something new on set. How would you describe that?
I would describe that as some sort of black, metallic, mesh-headed, perhaps maybe like a...
Our guest on scene, our technical advisor and lighting expert, Scott, has something to say.
This is a statue from ancient Greece. This is an idol. What you may not realize is the Greek god of public speaking was named Microphanes.
See, I thought this... That's good. I was going to go with a jonophone.
It's an idol to the Greek god Microphanes, the god of public speaking.
So we have a new microphone on set, as recommended by one of our other technical advisors. It's a shout out to Whitey. Thank you so much for your advice.
Thank you, Kevin.
When this was picked up, the young man who sold it to the team here was envious because he's a podcaster, and this is his goal microphone.
Ooh.
So hopefully you're all experiencing improved sound this evening.
Well, that is the hope.
Yes.
And I believe this is going to help things out.
So there's something else. Of course, we have our great friend Scott here, who's been our lighting man all along and technical advisor. But if you've been watching the series all season 2, you've noticed that the shelves have been starting to have gaps and holes and spaces on them.
I think also during our whole season, we have talked about a certain day and a certain fairy.
Yeah, the Whiskey Fairy, I believe. And I recall that in the last episodes, there were gaps all around behind us.
I will say this.
Yep.
It was just the day after Thanksgiving, correct?
Yeah, is that Brown Friday?
Black Friday?
Oh, it matches the
Friday.
Jonophone. Yeah, Black Friday on the Jonophone, or Microphanes.
And I believe there was a trip involved.
Yeah, so historically, my father-in-law and I, and we still have to get to that story, but he's my introduction to Scotch whiskey in a serious way. On Black Friday, he and I would go whiskey shopping while the rest of the women in the family, because that's what the rest were and are, would go shopping. And so he and I wanted no part of that other than, can we just go buy some Scotch? And so we did lots of research, and the peak of it, I think, was 6 shops in 4 different states. And several episodes of that wound up with the 2 best whiskey shops in New England that I've been to. And of course, we can rule out New Hampshire and Vermont because they're state-run monopolies, and it's the same product in every store. So we get into Massachusetts and Rhode Island, where the individual store owner has a lot more flexibility as to how they're going to stock their shelf. And that's where you can find a dusty bottle in the back, something you've never heard of, an exotic, a one-off. And today, or not today, but this time, you and our technical advisor, social media manager, Kevin, who we've all met on the show many times, and he's also our prop maker, we took a ride on Black Friday this year.
And it was a very interesting trip. Firstly, I know I can speak for me and Kevin that we appreciate the fact that we were invited on this trip with you. Learning that we had to leave to go to Rhode Island was quite a shock. But the trip itself was harkened back to the days when we used to hop in and drive across the country to play paintball. Yep. And traveling, we had some good laughs. And I will tell you this, the 2 places you took us to, if you saw the place from the outside, you'd be like, well, this is just a package store. You can get whatever. You go down there and get Coors Light or Bud Light. But the selections that we saw, and I know I can't say anything about numbers or bottles, but I will tell you, there was quite a few handfuls of maneuvering of bottles around to be able to say, hey, what is this? And when the light came on in the first place in Rhode Island, that's when I knew, okay, we're in a store that means business. So that was good. That was good time.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you brought up the appearance of the place, because I was going to ask you, could you describe the first store to us? And would you imagine they even had a blended Scotch whiskey in there?
I know. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So we get down and we're in Rhode Island. And I will tell you, some of the selections that were there were crazy. Things that I have definitely not seen in New England. or New Hampshire, I should say, and stuff that you probably would even have a hard time even seeing on a duty free or something like that. There were bottles there with dust caked on them, a little bit like the bar here, that you would say, okay, these guys mean business when they went out and picked these. They really did. It wasn't your run of the mill.
I really like that store as the beginning point because it probably has more of the bottles you're not going to be familiar with or aware of, but they're less friendly in the sense of working with you regardless of the purchase you're about to make. Certainly,
a little standoffish.
Certainly the owner, the orderer, is knowledgeable about Scotch whiskey, and he's really stocked his shelf well. But my favorite stop is the second store, and Dave and I would always make that our last stop. And I know I told you guys that I didn't want to say anything at the time, so I didn't want to get your hopes up. But there's always a glass of whiskey in the back room at that shop.
And he's not kidding.
And again, there was no difference this time. But what was really nice this time is the backroom glass of whiskey he poured us was a tribute bottle he had bottled specially and labeled especially for his shop in tribute to a friend of his who had recently passed away, who was an aficionado of Scotch whiskey.
And it was very good.
And I recall it being a Lafrague 22-year-old.
Yes.
That was deceptively smooth.
Very smooth. But enough that you knew when you finished that gulp that you were drinking a Lafrague.
Absolutely. And
the owner's name of that place?
His name is Sean. And now, we're not going to tell you these shops because... it's proprietary secrets. But I loved the label, too, because it had sort of that old style Scotch, profile picture of his friend's face. Yep.
No, it was very well put together, and it was a great reason for that. And obviously, for me and Kevin, when we all I saw was you starting to disappear into the crowd of like these stocked shelves of all different liquors, and I was like, "Where's he off to?" Yep. And next thing you know, you go into this other place, and it's almost like going into like a cathedral. It's all open, and there was bottles that were reasonably priced and stuff that you probably wouldn't have seen on the main deck. But the fact that he was able to talk to us at a different level, like almost like he was like, these guys mean business.
Yep.
And it was very nice to realize that he knew you.
Yep. I didn't go last year. We didn't go because of COVID. And I just said, "Do you remember?" And he's like, "I remember you." Just an acknowledgement for the beep that you just heard. In addition to the Jonophone or the microphonies, we have other new equipment in here, and so we'll work on that buzzer not going off in the future. But we really are trying to up our game here, and you're going to have setbacks and surprises like that.
And that was a surprise.
And there we go. So we're going to have it. And so there's just a little chatter about the Whiskey Fairy. I did post a picture up on the Facebook page. About the bottles on the bar. That was fun. We really appreciate, Scott, that you're here today. And I know recently, and we're going to get to picking our bottle shortly, but I know recently you asked for some advice. Could you just give us a quick little blurb about the advice you asked?
Yeah, my brother, kid brother, he's a nuclear physicist, but he's still a kid to me, you know. It was his birthday was coming up, but I was going to be down in Maryland to see him. It was just coincidental that we were going to be there at the same time. And I know he's a Scotch man. Ooh. So I asked his wife what his favorite pour was. And I don't remember what she said it was, but it was a smoky, peaty sort of a thing. Okay. And so see, this is where we landed. So I texted Colin and asked, for advice. I wanted to find something that was going to be accessible locally, that I could walk into the New Hampshire State Liquor Store and buy. I gave him an upper price limit of up to $200. I like him, but not that much, But that's like it, and I wanted it to be something maybe that he wouldn't have tried, something a little off the beaten path. And Colin came up with a couple of Ardbegs, and one of them was the Corey Vrecken. And Dan had never tried it, and he said that it was delightful and chaotic. So he really liked that aspect of it, that there was a lot going on. And if you don't know what Corey Vrecken is, it's the second largest whirlpool in the world.
Oh, really?
It's right off the coast of the islands.
Oh, wow.
And so it's this huge whirlpool. And so the Corey Vrecken is named for this, and it is tumultuous, and it's very complex. It's on the challenging end of the spectrum, and he and his wife both really appreciated that almost as much as that dog likes to bark.
That dog does like to bark.
Hey, I've got a Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Your dog doesn't like to bark.
Yeah, no.
My dog likes
so,
to bark.
I really enjoyed the word chaotic when you described that. Right, when you came back and said that your brother had appreciated that as chaotic. And I'm excited for that number poll, which would be 11, 12, 13. But it is time
To hit that button?
to hit that button. What's the number, Scott?
31.
It's going to be right behind us, Mal. I'm glad the shelf is full.
Yeah, and it's going to be a goodie.
I believe they're 15 across.
It is 15. I
already know what it is. So 4 plus 7 is 11 plus 4 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. This is exciting, everybody.
Is it one of the new ones?
Hi, Mal. I'm from Jura.
Oh!
So this is not one of the new
Not
ones.
one of the new ones.
But this is a private label, Jura, 14-year-old oak cask. This is the region that Jura would be if you expand the regions from Lowland, Highland, Speyside, and Islay. The other regions, if you expand, would be Campbellton and the islands. Well, this Jura would fall under that traditionally, the islands, the Isle of Jura. And so what we have here is distilled in 1992. We add 14 years to that, and
Don't even ask.
2006.
Too excited with all this stuff going on.
2006 bottling. This is a Gordon and MacPhail, which is a pretty big name in the private label industry. So they've gone and bought this cask or several casks because we don't have a single cask label or bottled in 2006. I did the math correctly.
You did do the math.
And so there are probably several casks vatted together that they liked, aged 14 years in oak, and Gordon and MacPhail said this is some good stuff. It's very light. Scott, how would you describe the color?
Almost a light, like a cream soda, almost.
Oh.
Almost like a little,
Actually, that's-
like a not quite caramel. It's more yellow than I would normally expect. But cream soda is what kind of comes to mind, as opposed to that more of a brown or orange tone. So I'm while I don't drink, I am curious to know what that one tastes like.
I am just so excited with the cream soda coloration.
That's actually a very interesting use.
Yeah.
I actually would say it's very, very pale.
Very light. So 14 years, 46 alcohol by volume.
Okay, so it's not going to burn us.
No. We have no other tasting recommendations, notes, nothing to look for. Very simple label on the back, mostly just the government warning. You don't have to pay attention to that.
No.
Is that warning you about the government?
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe we should read the fine print. We should make labels and go around and clandestinely stick government warning labels on things. That's a bad idea, everybody. Don't do it.
yeah, that's not good. That is not good.
So this bottle has been here, I suspect, for about 5 or 6 years. I don't completely recommend where I got it, but part of me thinks I got this on Cape Cod at a conference I went to, and just sort of be there for 3 or 4 days and travel around and check out a couple of the
How do
shops
you
there.
find this time to go to liquor stores when you're working?
You know, people make time for things, Mal. Do you play video games?
Yeah.
How do you have time for that?
Lots. Too much.
Scott, you make time for things that are interesting to you?
Absolutely.
That's right. So that's why. I need you to make more buying whiskey time.
I can hear that.
Okay.
I don't think that's good.
So Jura, at one point, the Jura 21 was a favorite around here.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so Jura sort of has a soft spot in this bar.
Now, is that Engler's favorite as well?
I can see the tin of whiskey fudge from Edredauer, which is Engler's favorite. Right. That he gave us the tin.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep,
All right.
yep. That's for you, Mr. Engler. We'll talk about you at some point. It's time for a glass of whiskey.
I think so.
These people came here to watch us taste this 14-year-old Jura.
I'm just waiting to hear the sound.
I know you're a big fan of the cork pull. Again, we open these bottles. We don't know what we're going to get. We don't rehearse this. We don't look it up in advance. Sometimes we'll look in a book, but today we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to get to trying. Why do I do this?
To wet the cork to allow for moisture to get on the cork so the cork can release.
Yeah, so it won't fail. And this is the telltale for these old bottles in the bar, is you turn first to free it. You don't just pull.
Ooh.
It was a long pop.
That was lively.
I'm not going to discuss what it reminded me of, but it was a long pop and release.
That was lively.
That is not cream soda.
Ooh.
I love the gurgle.
That's a lot sweeter than I thought it was going to be.
Oh man, I'm a little shaky
No
tonight for
doubts,
some reason.
dude.
I think it's the new equipment. That's what I'll call it on. I think sometimes you're just afraid you're going to make a mess. I'm glad it's over on your coaster.
I know, again, man.
Yeah.
What is it with this rubbish?
Yeah,
It's more on the bar.
yeah. You wanna? I think Kiss had an album. Lick It Up.
Look it up.
Yep.
Now, again, with the Glencairns,
Yep. The tasting
the
glass.
tasting glasses.
I think we may see more of these.
That's got a great smell.
It
actually.
is the glass to taste, to nose. The idea is to swirl like a wine, to tip it, to watch for legs and viscosity.
Pretentious.
Do you see these things here? What are they called? Snobby tops, I think is the official term.
Well, I need to get you a beret. So you can put it underneath there. We'll give you a couple medals.
A little braided little robe.
We'll use some of the gold from these glasses, and then we can just put them on there. There's like scarf wrappers.
Oh, robe. Just a series of.
All right. So,
All right. Anything on the nose, Mal, jumping at you?
sweet, and which is actually
Very sweet.
for
Light
that.
and sweet to me.
Now, this you said was from the Isla region, correct?
No, this is from the
island
island
of Jura.
the Isle of Jura, which is different than the Isle of Isla.
Okay.
Say that 10 times fast.
It's got a wonderful smell.
To me, it's light and sweet. I'm very excited. All I have to really think about it is I don't think we have peat. It looks like we're just in oak casks. And the light color, but color betrays us all the time.
I'm drinking.
Shall we go? Warmer than I expected.
Yeah, and there was something on the very front where I can't really picture what the taste was, but there was almost like a lump of this one flavor, and then it just sort of eased itself back onto me, and then you get this heat.
I was looking to if I could declare butterscotch, but I don't think I'm there.
There's something there though, right in the very beginning, but the heat you definitely get.
Yeah, the heat is surprising to me.
This is another one, considering what time of year it is.
Yeah.
This is another one that you could use in this time of year.
Yeah. Very light, almost fragrant on front, and then it just warms, but not a smoky warm, not a peaty warm at all.
Just like someone turned the heat up.
Yeah, it's not medicinal.
No, this is
It carries through to about where I button my shirt.
the hairy part of his chest. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. Versus the other part of my upper body, not hair. Oh, never mind.
No, this is wonderful.
Like to have a fuller nose?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I appreciate it though.
It's like peppery, maybe.
Is there something grassy?
It's something right in the very front. I can't
Put the glass to right below the nose, like touch your face and tip it into your nose and really bring it in. Something grassy?
I don't know, but there is definitely something in the very front.
floral.
I can't make it out, but there's something
Not
there.
doesn't burn the nose.
Nope.
Again, if we really did these deep nosings before the taste, again that very slight burn's not the right word, turn the volume up, is very surprising.
Yeah, there really isn't anything on here, is there? There's something there. For a better term,
Did you say peppermint or something?
peppery.
Peppery.
And maybe it is a minty.
It's like a not sweet mint.
Correct.
It's like a pepper mint.
Correct. But I for the life of me, I cannot figure it out. But there's something there that is definitely a flavor profile before it gets into the heat, which gets to the back of you.
One of the things I respect, Scott, about folks who choose not to drink is when they're able to be in the environment and spend time and want to like learn about the aspects and not feel that, oh, we're up to something no good or something like that. And I really respect that the decisions that you make for what's best for you.
I appreciate that. It's been almost 26 years since I've had a drink, and I was fortunate that I learned early in my life that I'm not a person who can drink. I can not drink very easily.
Yep.
Not having a second drink is next to impossible for me.
Yep.
So for me to sit here and be with people who are drinking and not drink, it's a walk in the park.
Yep.
But if I were to have one, it'd be bad.
Yeah, right. What do they say, right? One is too many because then 100 aren't enough.
Absolutely. And I was very fortunate to learn that lesson for me early in life and be able to sort of put alcohol in its proper place, But at the same time, I've thoroughly enjoyed being on this journey with you guys.
Yeah.
And learning more about this. I found it
bring up,
fascinating.
If it wasn't for Scott in the very beginning and for what he's been doing throughout our second season and the direction he's putting us in for our third season, which is going to be extremely exciting, hats off to you, mate. I'm glad that I've added you to my list of friends. I appreciate everything that you've done.
So you're not going to unfriend me like you said earlier?
Not this time. Not since I'm in the command chair.
I'll try harder.
So as we fix the move to the end, I would just say those of you who have followed this series will recognize Scott from episodes 1 and 2 here at the very beginning and here to end season 2 with us. But we're going to move on to our toast, Malcolm, for the Jura, the 1992 14-year oak cask. We can't quite identify the front flavor. Something earthy of some sort, sweet with a mellow burn, nothing smoky or peaty.
And a warming sensation at the end.
Very warming. So we're going to move to our toast and wrap up our first episode for December and our second to last episode of regular shoots for season 2. And so, Mal, we're going to travel back to Russia.
Oh, good God.
And so I learned something today.
Those poor Russians.
And that there's that traditional toast that many folks have heard about Eastern European countries, Poland, Russia, Nostrave, right, which you think is the cheers, the
That's
toast.
the one you always hear.
Right. Turns out that really is more, in social settings, more of a thank you.
Oh, okay.
So that the actual to your health cheers in Russia is Vostrovy.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Wish I could find that front flavor.
The more I drink it, I think it is peppermint.
Could it be spearmint?
Because it does have some of that sharpness. It is sharp and sweet.
It could be.
Interesting.
Spearmint is a different mint all on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, it's definitely there.
Yep. Great.
Camera 1 is down. Camera 2 is down. Audio is coming down.
Highs from that space, and so it won't be a sharp.
Gotcha.
There'll still be a dog in the background, but I can probably take that in half
Yeah.
a second, cut that down.
It sounds like a dog in the distance.
Yeah. And once we zoom
Are we
in,
filming?
They're going to get
Oh
ready.
yeah, that thing's running.
Yeah,
But,
right.
yeah, just
Pizza on the deck table.